toward the officer, gun in hand. Within hours, scores of people descended on the neighborhood. Egged on by rumors spread by social media, the crowd grew violent. Police cars were smashed and burned. 8 businesses went up in flames. And for about 36 hours, the community of Sherman Park was left shaken. The man whose name became a Twitter hashtag in all this is Seville Smith. Today, he was laid to rest on the city's far northwest side. We'll begin tonight with that. And now Rebecca Clough. Rebecca.
Steve, hundreds of people gathered here outside this church, but no media cameras were allowed inside while the church service was underway today. Now, we saw dozens of people showed up today dressed in red, Smith's favorite color. Others were wearing yellow buttons that said the word change for Seville. They gathered outside the church before the services began today. The 23-year-old was shot and killed 2 weeks ago. His family did not want to speak, saying today was about their son. Reverend Jesse Jackson gave the eulogy and said there are still questions about how Smith died.
What happened on the killing must be made public, and soon, to relieve public of the pressure and anxiety. Reveal all that we know, so as to remove any suggestion of cover-up.
Now, as you said, police have said that Smith was holding a gun when he was shot and killed, but the Department of Justice is still investigating that shooting, and those findings are not done. For now, reporting live outside Good Hope Road, Rebecca Clough for The Now. Steve, back to you.
Rebecca, thank you. The violence in Sherman Park put a new strain on the relationship between police and the African-American community, but that's a relationship that would require cooperation from both sides if Milwaukee's to get any safer. Earlier today, I sat down with Police Chief Ed Flynn to see how his officers can connect with parts of the black community that feel oppressed.
We had one of our district commanders, District 7 commander, was at a community meeting 2 days after the riot. Room full of African Americans. It brought tears to his eyes, the support for policing in that room.
But that happened in Sherman Park, where Chief Flynn says his department has a natural advantage. People who live here have lived here a while, and they work together. In
Sherman Park, groups of people can organize to access the police department to help solve a problem. That's a different dynamic. It lends itself to closer bilateral relations. It lends itself to the development of bonds between the police department and the people in that neighborhood.
Elsewhere in the city, it is a challenge, balancing the demands for more police against claims police are the problem.
You go to any crime and safety community meeting in any police district in this city, you will hear people asking for more and effective policing. They want to be treated fairly. They want to be treated respectfully. They should be. But the fact of the matter is they are every bit as much of the community as those who are carrying signs and decrying oppressive policing practices.
Chief Flynn believes Sherman Park can be a model for other neighborhoods, as this community, in the face of violence, quickly took control of itself.
We had a riot that basically lasted 2 to 3 hours in one night, and by the next day, pastors and faith workers and community workers were on the street working in the community to keep things calm, and the neighborhood was cleaning itself up. The second night there was a few arrests with some minor disorder, and by the third night there were no arrests and no disorder at all.
Chief Flynn told me finding balance is a process that requires cooperation between the police, the community, and the elected leaders in the city of Milwaukee. So to a real estate agent with listings in Sherman Park, the violence we saw was the last thing they wanted. Still, you're not going to find neighbors or real estate agents saying there goes the neighborhood. George Mallet live at Sherman Park tonight with that part of the story.
And Steve, let's be right up front about one thing. Real estate trends take time to develop. I talked to a lot of real estate agents over the last few days, and they all say the impact of a single traumatic event on this neighborhood is going to take time to assess. Though there isn't any hard data yet to indicate if the violence in Sherman Park dealt a blow to real estate transactions in the neighborhood, real estate agent Shar Borg is optimistic.
I've moved a lot of families in from surrounding suburbs, from Germantown, Menominee Falls, Mequon, into Sherman Park.
Borg has sold a lot of properties in Sherman Park. She lives here. She allows that the violence was scary, but is unabashed in her belief that Sherman Park is surging. That belief rooted in what Sherman Park buyers tell her.
And they all say the same thing. They've met more people in the first week in Sherman Park than they met in 20 years in Mequon, for example.
Sharon Ganier could be one such example. She and her family, including 5 kids, moved into Sherman Park from Germantown one day before the violence. Less than 24 hours after her moving truck pulled away, the now infamous BP station at the neighborhood's hub intersection was burning.
Once you come to the realization that all hell's breaking loose up the street, what runs through your mind?
A little bit of knowing that we were signing up for a different lifestyle here than we had in the suburbs. Not quite expecting that level of intensity, and most certainly some concern.
But as I sat on her front steps chatting with this young mother of a family as diverse as the neighborhood in which she's chosen to live, it became clear she has no regrets.
In the days that followed, we saw so much love from the community, so much love from our neighbors, so much involvement at the park that it actually ended up leaving us more encouraged than we were when we first got here.
And if there are any lingering doubts about the life-changing decisions she and her family made, they fade when she reflects on her first visit to Sherman Park and what she observed and felt.
People from all different walks of life. Nobody was concerned about your social and economic status, the color of your skin. It was just this beautiful community of people doing life together, and we wanted to be a part of that.
And we heard that phrase a lot, doing life together in that neighborhood. All of the people I spoke with telling me that people invest in Sherman Park not so much in the brick and mortar, but rather in the people and the community. We're live at Sherman Park tonight. George Mallet, today's TMJ4. Steve, back to you.
George, thanks. We'll see you again coming up later in the broadcast. Still ahead, moving Milwaukee forward. The team effort Mayor Barrett is leading to bring that neighborhood comeback together. Plus, learn a little history lesson, a look at how Sherman Park shaped up to get how it is today. Stay with us, folks. It's a special edition of the Now Milwaukee. Hi, everybody. Steve Shamraz here in the studio, just talking to everybody out there on Facebook. I hope you can hear me. We're doing it a little differently this time around, where I'm actually using the studio cameras to communicate with everybody at home watching us on Facebook. Nobody on TV can see what you are seeing right now. If you've got any questions about the stories that we're showing you tonight, this is your opportunity to ask them of us here at Channel 4. Charles Benson will be here in a little bit. Carol Meekins will be in studio a little bit later on. We'll keep them around and bring them in on the discussion as well. So if you've got any questions, get them to me through the feed on Facebook under the video you are watching, and I'm going to do my best to use my fat thumbs to get through it. So if you've got any questions. Daryl wrote, the answer is to get away from the people of Milwaukee. What you're going to see tonight, Daryl, there's 2 stories in this hour about people from the suburbs moving back into Milwaukee. So you're a little off base on that assessment right there. Milwaukee's a place a lot of people want to be, and you're going to see some reasons for that coming up over the hour. Am I doing my little journey here?
Walk off the top. Seconds. He knows
What's going on?
that you have to walk off.
Yeah.
All right, stand by.
Welcome back, everybody. Sherman Park is one of the more diverse neighborhoods on Milwaukee's north side. African Americans, about 80% of this community, though. And as Julia Fellow shows us, Sherman Park also finds its roots in diversity.
History proves that people who live in Sherman Park intentionally move here because of its rich diversity and activism, which makes what played out on the 13th so difficult for so many to comprehend. Our nation watched as Sherman Park unraveled into chaos. Members of the community that include Fred Curzan of the Sherman Park Community Association want you to know the roughly 8 blocks under turmoil is just a fraction of the community, which spans about 30 blocks.
Quite frankly, if it happens here, it can happen anywhere.
Historian Claiborne Benson shares the treasure trove of Sherman Park history began in the early 1900s.
The Perot family granted this park to the city of Milwaukee, and the city then later changed the name to William Sherman after General Sherman, the Civil War general.
Benson says it was a predominantly German community, but that quickly changed. Rabbi Chaim Twersky shows us a photo of his great-great-grandfather, whose pilgrimage from Ukraine to Milwaukee in the 20s forever changed the area.
I'm currently raising the 5th generation of Twersky family members here in the Sherman Park neighborhood.
Rabbi Twersky's ancestors helped found Congregation Beth Yehuda. Roughly 200 Orthodox Jewish families who follow the Twerskys have never left.
We want to be part of whatever's going to be happening moving forward.
Diversity created in the decades that follow is what keeps the Twerskys here today. By 1960, this neighborhood was filled with a beautiful stock of homes that still stand today. The activism to preserve these homes over the next 2 decades resulted in the founding of Sherman Park Community Association.
A number of people got together really to stop freeway expansion that was coming through the neighborhood.
While the predominant makeup of this community today is 80% African American, Claiborne Benson tells us the African American community did not begin to grow here until about the 1980s. They had no idea what was about to happen.
Factories are closing up and jobs are becoming hard to scarce.
Unemployment plagues several areas of Sherman Park today. Fred Curzan tells us some homeowners are having trouble paying property taxes. The neighborhood association that now sits between 2 burned businesses needs more help than ever.
We do have a capacity issue, and we can barely do what we're doing now.
This community cannot do it all on their own, but they are ready to.
People are activists. They'll roll up their sleeves. They'll address the issues that we have.
I'm Julia Fellow for the Now Milwaukee.
Julia, thank you. Coming up, a man on a mission. How Milwaukee's mayor hopes to help mend the city he cares so much about. Plus, giving jobs a jolt, the abandoned area getting a second chance to change a neighborhood. Hi again, everybody. It's me, Steve, on the Facebook Live. And keep refreshing here. Not a whole lot of questions coming in, so if you guys have anything that pops into your mind over the next couple of minutes, I'm here for you.
You're in this one.
Back to the 4-pack here.
No, you guys are over here.
Me and Charles?
Not necessarily on your mark normally.
Right. It's kind of
yeah, like
we
there.
Olympic zone this.
Yeah, there, and then
Charles
will be here.
The cravat.
Janet wanted me to wear a tie.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she did.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she did. Don't break tradition.
If anybody out there thinks Charles should take the tie off, let me know.
When we go to camera 1 for Charles, lean back a little bit so you're not in the shot.
So what's going to happen here? So we'll go, you'll be on 1, and there'll be...
Steve's on 3.
3.
2 is a 2-shot.
All right.
1 is yours.
All right.
Now, it's telling me there are 11 comments, but I don't see 11 comments. If any of our web guys are watching this feed of me looking concerned, I'm not seeing new comments for whatever reason. Thank you.
Send the millennial.
Send the millennial, that's right.
You got the box for him?
Put him on the box.
There we go. There we go. I got it.
1 minute. So it's going to start on start Steve on camera 3, swing to 2, and then Charles will be on 1.
Daryl, I haven't seen that video today. I don't know if we were there with the funeral procession. I got it working now. I can see all your comments. Here's the trick. Don't do it through the Facebook Pages Manager. Do it through just the Facebook app, and you can see everything a lot better.
30 seconds.
How long back?
10 seconds.
Welcome back, everybody. Burning buildings, looting police and riot gear. They are not the images any city wants played out on the national news. But that's what happened. Charles Benson talked with Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett about the path forward for our city.
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about what went wrong. What's the right solution? Mayor Tom Barrett with some answers.
Not long after the deadly police shooting, Mayor Barrett was on the scene assessing the situation. By the time he left 44th and Hour, he thought things were under control. That all changed when his phone started blowing up around 9:30 that night with the first fire at the BP gas station. The unrest had begun.
And my goal Saturday night was to get people off the street and to calm the city down and to send a message that this was something that we took very seriously.
Barrett turned to pastors and community leaders to bring calm. 8 businesses caught fire. What message would the burning images send the community and the nation?
And did you get any calls? People say, look, I just can't do business anymore in the city.
No, I didn't get that. And I didn't get that. Now, maybe they're not going to call me, or maybe they're just going to quietly leave. But that's why it was very important for me to reach out to the businesses to let them know I wanted them to be here. Because I don't want to see disinvestment.
But Barrett believes it's not just about jobs.
You can't ignore the poverty. You can't ignore the homelessness or the hopelessness, the educational issues, the public safety issues. Those are very real.
Real problems, the mayor says, will require a team effort to solve.
And I've had people say, oh, this is your problem, that problem. And my response is, oh, no, no. This is all of our problem. And I, obviously, I'm not saying that to shirk responsibility. I have a huge responsibility in this.
And the mayor says poverty is a very real issue in Milwaukee. It has one of the highest concentrated areas of poverty in the major metro area in the country, Steve.
When you're dealing with a monster, so to speak, with so many heads as the problems of an urban city like Milwaukee, you do need buy-in from everyone across the board if you're going to make a dent in it.
And he feels he's getting it.
All right, Charles, thank you. Coming up, bringing businesses back to Sherman Park, the groups who have plans to reignite the lack of industry in that neighborhood.
Back to the 4-pack. 245 break.
Hey again, everybody. We're doing that thing where we just put me up on a random camera in the studio so we can talk a little bit in commercial break. 56 of you watching along live right now on the Facebook feed. I appreciate you hanging out with us in the breaks. Got any questions about the stories we're showing you tonight? I'd love to hear from you. Just say something here in the comments. Janet, welcome to the party. Robert, good to see you. William, that is a lot of emojis you're throwing my way. I appreciate that. There'll be plenty left, don't you worry.
There was still a ton of it left over when I showed up today.
Dinner's catered for everybody tonight because we're doing the special here, and the studio crew just wants to make sure they get theirs.
Can you take a step backwards? They're just checking something.
How far back?
Right there.
Because I'm covering the graphic, aren't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Questions, anybody? Any thoughts, questions, comments? Great thoughts. I'm here for you. It looked like, Ross, there were a lot of different community groups out there just doing everything they can, from cleaning up to feeding people. I was out there Sunday morning around like 8:30, and I was amazed at the number of people who just grabbed trash bags and decided they were going to pick up trash. It may have had nothing to do with what happened Saturday night, but they were picking up trash. It was nice to see.
30 seconds. Point out camera 2, swing to 1 for the double box.
Okay. See you back on TV in a minute here, folks. We're going to go dark here in the studio. Welcome back, everybody. One of the employers that kept Sherman Park bustling for years was A.O. Smith. That business is long gone, with acres of empty land a reminder of what was lost. But a new business development site on that land could help put people back to work. Ricky Mitchell joins us live now from Century City to tell us how.
Well, Steve, it's hard to miss this brand new sign behind me along Capitol Drive. Now, the name itself, Century City, represents what could become in this park in the future, but still holding true to the area's past that began more than 100 years ago. What once served as A.O. Smith and Tower Automotive's bustling headquarters now sits empty and boarded up. These buildings were part of a massive 150-acre site that in its heyday employed about 10,000 people. But eventually the company went bankrupt, abandoning the area and taking all of those jobs with it.
It was so gradual so that we really didn't feel the impact of it until it was done.
Yvonne McCaskill has lived in this neighborhood 43 years, and she says when people started losing their jobs, they left.
We know what this community was like when there were jobs in the neighborhood. We can do that again.
It was the only manufacturing building on the site that we felt could be saved.
Rocky Marcoux is the commissioner of city development for Milwaukee. In 2009, the city purchased the 150-acre property with big plans in mind.
And we're going to leverage what had most people looked at as abandoned property that could never be brought back to life. We're going to leverage it into the biggest single successful piece of rebuilding a jobs corridor along the 30th Street rail line.
The city spent $37 million cleaning up the site, demolishing buildings, and preparing the area for new business.
So what we have here is 50,000 square feet of brand new Class A manufacturing space.
The city even built a new building to usher in a new era of manufacturing jobs.
As we continue to market this, and we get companies that will move in here, then we'll begin another building next to it.
Still in the business park, an existing building currently being used by Benson Industries.
They are hiring residents from the neighborhood to be trained. They're being trained as glazers.
He says several companies are interested in moving to the park, including one that could bring upwards of 1,000 jobs. And that, Yvonne says, will not only be another asset to her neighborhood, but it could impact all of Milwaukee.
This is about a city coming together to look at and impact what's happening in our Central City neighborhoods.
Now, the company we mentioned that would bring those 1,000 jobs to this area is called Rev Group. Their plans all depend on a $6 billion government contract. If they win that contract, the company has said that it would build a new plant here at Century City Park. And if that happens, they said they are committed to hiring people from the surrounding area. Reporting live from Century City, Ricky Mitchell for the Now Milwaukee.
Ricky, thank you very much. For decades, Sherman Park was a neighborhood where lots of people could walk to a job good enough to support a family. The struggle now is to bring the jobs back and bring back that quality of life. Our Casey Geraldo shows us how one neighborhood group is working to make that happen.
My career is more important than making the wrong decisions.
It's the lesson at the heart of what pro-trade job development is all about.
I owned a construction company, and I noticed that individuals that I would hire had some struggles outside of employment.
Struggles like those Washington himself knows well. Struggles many people in Sherman Park have experienced.
My GPA was 0.8. I started smoking weed and pretty much dropped out of high school.
Tim Sheehy from the Metropolitan Milwaukee Association of Commerce says that's a spark for financial frustration.
86% of out-of-wedlock births are to African-American mothers, and 17% of the kids in the city of Milwaukee are reading at grade level. You have the fuel for a fire like this.
Washington explains his father wasn't around, and his mother worked all the time supporting his family.
So it left me to roam the streets. We just got into trouble because we weren't involved in too much.
To date, Washington's pro-trade groups have helped 200 young men and women in Milwaukee become better employees.
Having the integrity to say no or something's wrong.
Building character
and a respect for the city that built them.
We feel we tore up the city and it's our job to build it back up.
That's the key, according to Sheehy, in the aftermath of burned down buildings and looted businesses.
People aren't connected to the economy, and when they're not connected to the economy, they don't participate as citizens.
So what Washington and his instructors teach, the lifelong skills they built.
You have to be that person that steps up and have that high level of integrity.
May provide the answer.
What do you do for a young 19-year-old living in the Sherman Park neighborhood who has a high school degree or doesn't have a high school degree? How do they get connected to the economy in a meaningful way?
They're committed to changing their own lives. That's part of that integrity.
Sheehy says it's the long game.
There aren't short answers.
Both men feel job creation programs have to be measured by how many people end up in meaningful careers.
So that they can pridefully say, I'm working and I'm taking care of my family.
In Milwaukee, Casey Geraldo for the Now Milwaukee.
Casey, thanks. Washington says competition for jobs and transportation issues are still obstacles for a lot of people looking for work. He says if resources get in the right hands to provide training and to get people hired, busy hands will eventually keep people out of trouble. Coming up, we all start somewhere. The promise former Commissioner of Baseball Bud Selig sees in his childhood neighborhood of Sherman Park. Where are Carol and I standing for this one?
I never stand over here.
The 4-pack spots? So you go on number 2. I stand on number 1.
This is 2? Okay.
Yes, although you're never number 2 to anybody, Carol.
Oh, I'm just, whatever number they give me is the number I take. I'm not proud. So which camera do I look at? We've got all these cameras staring at me.
3.
Oh, you look at 3? Over there? Okay. This is very interesting.
Classic T. Scott. I'll say this. I hate to see a place where people live get trashed the way Sherman Park was. That's a good community for a lot of people, and it breaks your heart to see that happen. There's frustration and a lot of things behind it, but you don't do that to a place people live. It makes it harder to bring it back when that happens, and that's the goal everybody you're hearing from tonight wants, is they want to try and bring this community back to what it could be, because it's still a nice place in the city of Milwaukee. So,
and there are a lot of people out there still with a lot of pride in the area.
Yeah, there's a lot of pride in this community.
You can go anywhere and the people are just eager to tell you about all the wonderful things that are happening. I was at Washington Park High School yesterday, and kids were running up to me telling me all these great things. Yeah, Washington High School, I said, I just want to say Washington Park, but Washington High School. And they were like so excited just to tell me their story. So it's that's something we have to remember, that it's most people are good. It's a small minority.
Right. And Sherman Park is what, about 40 city blocks combined?
About, it gives or takes. Some people say less or more, there's a little bit of debate. But
well, we'll call it 40. Everything we saw that night happened in about 8 blocks.
Okay.
Just take like 2 steps out.
Oh, okay. I'm in too early, Steve. Sorry, I have to step
No, that's okay.
out.
I'll miss you.
Where's the camera, honey?
Camera 3.
Oh, that's the Facebook Live?
We're using the studio cameras for Facebook.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you don't get that kind of funky iPad camera looking up your nostril. Looks a little nicer.
When did you get an iPad? I didn't. Is that yours or the station?
This is the station's.
Oh, good.
I have my own too. But. All right, everybody. We're going to go back to black, and I'll see you on TV in a moment. Welcome back. Education is a building block in any successful community, and just a few blocks south of Sherman Park sits a school that's been around for 105 years. Jesse Ritka takes us inside Washington High School of Information Technology.
Study careers here. You'll be old enough to work before you know it.
And paving the path to the working world is something students at Washington High School of Information Technology have already immersed in.
There's actually a school that focuses on the thing I was trying to focus on throughout my entire life in high school.
I knew just a little bit about IT classes, but Washington helped me break down that wall of what I didn't know, so it gave me a lot of knowledge in the IT field.
But it's not just IT. Washington students have the opportunity to be part of the Pro Start program to learn about the culinary arts.
The cooking, the bookwork, everything. Nothing like is boring.
A hands-on style of learning helping to shift the focus to the future.
Making lemonade out of lemons.
No matter their present situation.
Although our students are living in a time when all of this negativity is going on, that they know that when they come to school that they have something positive. They have something that they can actually cling on to.
And whether that's winning a nationwide mobile app contest or using math and science to create the perfect dinner app, these students are embracing and helping spread the positivity their school is providing.
And I've been here since my freshman year and I love it. And it just encouraged me to tell more people about it to get them to come to our school.
I couldn't imagine Washington not being here.
And thanks to hardworking teachers, staff, and students, Washington will be here, welcoming high schoolers and helping send them toward a brighter tomorrow.
It really helped me out. I don't know where I would be at right now without Washington.
Jesse Ritka, today's TMJ4.
Washington has several successful alumni, including U.S. Senator Herb Kohl, Wisconsin Governor Lee Dreyfus, actor Gene Wilder, and the former commissioner of baseball, Bud Selig. Bud Selig was born and raised on the west side of Milwaukee, and Carol Meekins has a closer look at his story. Hi, Carol.
Thank you very much, Steve. Well, Bud Selig shared memories of Sherman Park and Washington High School. He played baseball in Sherman Park almost every day as a kid in the mid to late 40s, and the area holds a dear and special place in his heart.
I have very fond memories of Sherman Park.
Former baseball commissioner Bud Selig reflects on the Sherman Park of his youth.
It was just a place to go if you wanted to be involved in sports. And so it became really critical to the neighborhood. Very peaceful, very quiet, and very important. I have really a lot of fond memories about growing up in that neighborhood and getting educated in that neighborhood. And it was just, I can't tell you how good it was. And so did it help me in later years? I'm sure it did.
Bud Selig is credited with bringing Major League Baseball back to Milwaukee. And it was Selig who spearheaded the building of Miller Park. His love of the game began when he was playing ball as a youth in Sherman Park.
And so I can't tell you there was a lot of diversity there, because there wasn't. But it was a beehive of activity. There was lots of baseball played there and other things. It was a wonderful park. It was a wonderful park.
Selig is a member of the Washington High School Hall of Fame.
Washington High School in those days was rated as one of the best high schools in America. And it was really, really a good school. It was a wonderful school. You know, I look back on those days as really important. It was also a very tough school. And later on, I went on to the University of Wisconsin, and frankly, I have said this often, I found Washington High School tougher than the University of Wisconsin. It was a wonderful high school. I don't go by there often, but when I do, it brings back a lot of memories, a lot of great memories.
Selig admits seeing the turmoil in Sherman Park this summer was painful.
As soon as I saw Sherman Park, it just brought back a lot of memories. So it was emotional.
And Bud Selig reflects on what he hopes for the new generation growing up in today's Sherman Park.
I know how good that was for us, how important it was for us. And I hope that for this generation, they can play the same constructive role in their lives. And I hope it does.
And we have found evidence it does. It's really not hard to find those eager to share encouraging news. In fact, yesterday I just talked to some teens proud of Washington High School. They praise their school. They're planning to study hard, go very far. Stories much like Bud Selig's many years ago.
The resources there if kids are willing to use it.
They are, absolutely.
Carol, thank you. Coming up, pleas to free Sherman Park, why local leaders say Sheriff Clark has to give the community back its namesake green space. You were there.
Okay, well, I was looking at you and then looking around. Does that look like an idiot? No. You wouldn't tell me if I did. But I have a feeling I did. Oh well, it's done.
I'm still at the 4-pad.
Staying here. Hey gang, for the 34 of you still hanging out with us on the Facebook Live. Any thoughts about anything you've seen tonight? I'd love to hear from you. Just give me a shout out here in the comments under the Facebook Live. We're punching it up through the studio cameras during commercial break and leaving my microphone open because it works so much better than using an iPhone to do this. We figure we're a television station. We've got microphones and cameras. Let's use them. So I hope you're enjoying this. Shout your questions out to me in the comments. And forgive me while I clear my throat. Starting on 2 again.
The 4-pack goes over to the other side. It's like you know how they do the 430.
Is that too yellow?
But they're going to have the table in front of them, the saucer. It's not too dissimilar from how they used to do Wisconsin.
No, that's not too distracting.
With like with the 4-pack in the corner and then that vertical kiosk kind of pulled out a little bit. 20 seconds.
All right, 20 seconds left in break. We're going to black. I'll see you on TV. Good evening again, everybody. I'm Steve Shammer as we continue our special edition now of the Now Milwaukee, focusing on the healing in Sherman Park. Today, a funeral was held for a man shot and killed by a Milwaukee police officer in the Sherman Park neighborhood. Rebecca Clough live outside Christian Faith Fellowship Church with more on that.
Steve, hundreds of people filled the church today, though the family asked for privacy. No media was allowed inside. The Reverend Jesse Jackson gave the eulogy for Seville Smith. The 23-year-old was shot and killed 2 weeks ago. Jackson called for peace while the community waits for answers. Police say Smith was holding a gun when he was shot while running from officers. His family was too upset to speak today, but a spokesperson says this afternoon is about remembering their son, not the investigation.
The family doesn't know what happened or why it happened or how it happened. So imagine all of that stuff burying a family member.
Now the shooting is under investigation by the Wisconsin Department of Justice. They are still investigating what exactly happened. Reporting for the Now, live on Good Hope Road, Rebecca Clough, today's TMJ4.
Rebecca, thank you. The city of Milwaukee ended its curfew last week, but under the order of Milwaukee County Sheriff, Sherman Park is still closing every night at 6 p.m. And a lot of people in the community are not too happy about that. Eric Ross, live outside a closed park with their story. Eric?
Steve, good evening. In the wake of Seville Smith's funeral, sheriff's deputies were a little bit more lenient this evening. They really didn't start kicking people out of the park until a few minutes ago out of respect for his family, and they really didn't want to stir up any more violence. But still, many families I spoke with earlier today and yesterday, as well as one state representative and the county executive, say the 6 o'clock closure really needs to be lifted. All point to the fact that every other county park in Milwaukee County closes at 10 o'clock, so why should the hours here be any different? State Representative David Bowen grew up in the Sherman Park neighborhood. It hurts him to see this once peaceful and family-oriented park become surrounded by orange fences to keep people out.
It's time to start rebuilding our community and reconnecting our community, but it's hard to do that past orange tape.
The park is home to one of Milwaukee's Boys and Girls Clubs and parents like Leanne Warner who take their children here to play.
I think they should keep it open past 6 if the parents are here, but the tape I think should come down.
It's important that we recognize from the fact of 6 o'clock to 8:30 when it's still daylight, where are those young people now going? They're not coming to this park because it's closed. They're going back out into the streets of the community, and we don't know what they're doing.
Park visitors like James Dunlap agree.
I think the more opportunity that kids have to occupy their time and utilize their time in a positive way, the less chance of them getting in trouble.
Milwaukee County Executive Chris Abele shares the same viewpoint.
I think it's counterproductive, sends the wrong message, and it isn't the way you bring people back together.
Abele sent this letter to the sheriff asking him to remove the fence in 6 p.m. closing time, but says he hasn't heard back. All Sheriff Clark's spokesperson would tell us through an emailed statement is that the nighttime closure will continue until further notice.
I'm really encouraging the sheriff to reconsider and open this park back up so that it can serve as a resource for the families that need it.
And back out here live, we reached out to the sheriff's spokesperson asking when Sheriff Clark may modify the 6 p.m. closure time or lift it altogether. We never did get an answer to our question. Reporting live outside Sherman Park, Eric Ross, today's TMJ4.
Until further notice, Eric, thank you. There are many voices in the Sherman Park neighborhood with a vested interest in finding a path forward after the violence. Charles Benson, as you just saw, back with us once again, and one of those voices that's no stranger to big issues.
Certainly not. Dr. Howard Fuller has been in the trenches for decades, taking on big issues like education, civil rights, and policing. The police shooting and unrest nearly 2 weeks ago literally hit close to home.
I like this community.
Howard Fuller has lived in Sherman Park for nearly 30 years. He's just a few doors down from where Seville Smith was killed by police.
I've had a lot more conversations with my neighbors the last week than I probably have in 3 or 4 years.
Dr. Fuller has been part of the local and national conversation for decades. He's probably best known for his leadership on education reform. The violent reaction to the police shooting did not come as a wake-up call for him.
I think what happened has been building up for a long period of time.
Fuller says the issues are deep and difficult, but the root problems are familiar. Poverty, race, education, jobs.
To say we need to radically rethink this, that's an easy statement in a college classroom. Very, very difficult to do in human terms.
He believes finding solutions rests in reaching out to groups who have legitimate concerns and grievances before they become completely disconnected.
And I don't think you can do that without political will and resources.
Is the political will there?
No, I don't think we have the political will.
Not at the city level?
I don't think at any level in this country at this point in time.
Not even at the national level?
I don't think at any level in this country at this time do we have the political will to address the gravity of the problems that we've created.
That doesn't mean he's giving up. Fuller tells me he has been meeting privately and talking with lots of community leaders about solutions, short-term and long.
There's something in so-called conservative ideology and something in so-called liberal ideology that has to come together to find solutions to the problems that we have.
If there's no political will, that sounds like it's hopeless.
Well, let me just say that I'm not optimistic. You know, in the short term.
Long ago, Fuller was in the trenches as a community organizer, fighting poverty in North Carolina. Here he is leading a demonstration the day after Martin Luther King was killed. Years later, in 1981, he was back in Milwaukee, fighting for justice after Ernest Lacey, a black man, died while in a Milwaukee police van. At age 75, Fuller's not slowing down, but he's not looking to take center stage on this issue.
Do you wish you were 50 years younger?
No. No.
No?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't.
You've got the wisdom now.
Yeah, but I done made all of these mistakes along the way. All I want to be able to do, frankly, is to do what I can personally, and then to help younger people in any ways that I can without getting in the way.
And Fuller named the urban underground in Milwaukee as one of those new generation of leaders and one group that is trying to make a difference in the community.
An important voice to hear. Charles Benson, thank you. Coming up from the suburbs to the city, why a family that lived in Muskego decided to pack up and move to Sherman Park. Uh-oh, the boss is coming in. Everybody on Facebook, if something happens, it's the boss. You want to say hello to everybody at home? Punch up camera 4, get Janet in the shot. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Hey, no problem.
No, it really is. The show looks great.
It feels good. Chinese food in the newsroom.
Brittany said she would, but you asked me, and I'm like, I don't want it in right now. All right.
You guys get to see me blotting my greasy forehead in commercial breaks. Isn't that all everybody wants to see at home?
Camera one.
Camera one? How much back?
We have a minute, 20 seconds.
Okay. Hey, Control, I'm not getting any love here on the feed, so I'm going to take this next minute just to take care of something. We can go black. Welcome back, everybody. If you think Sherman Park is a neighborhood people are trying to escape, this next story will make you think again. With its stock of affordable, historic homes and streets that are more quiet than you'd imagine, it actually lured one family to move in from the suburbs. Shannon Sims has this family's story.
The Loomis family has called Sherman Park home for the past 4 years.
There are a lot of people that really care about this neighborhood.
It was important for them to find a neighborhood that was not only diverse, but also had a sense of community.
It's not dangerous. We let our kids ride their scooters up and down the sidewalks, walk to a friend's house.
The couple moved their 5 children from Muskego to the center city.
What do you love about living here?
That I have nice neighbors and my family.
With the color in our family, we just felt like we wanted a diverse neighborhood and felt called to be here.
It was a hard sell for teenage son Jack, but Mary embraced the change.
I wanted to see what was new and what different things were out there than just living in Muskego.
Tyler not only moved his family from the suburbs to Milwaukee, he pastors City Brook Church in the heart of this historic and integrated neighborhood. The Loomises live just 8 blocks from the unrest that ignited at the intersection of Sherman and Burleigh 2 weeks ago.
We knew there would be hiccups. We knew there would be things that would happen that we didn't like. And so when some of those things have happened, we have made a point of not overreacting.
Living here has helped us see, just be able to see things from different perspectives and not just see things from our own perspective.
Their concerned suburban friends have called, but the Loomises are determined to make their new life in Sherman Park work.
People from an arm's length, whether it's some of our friends or our family members, they are very concerned about our safety. They have wondered, what are you doing? How long are you staying? But it doesn't change our minds at all about being here.
Here where Tyler and his family put down roots in a place they now call home. Shannon Sims for the Now Milwaukee.
And since the 70s, the Sherman Park Community Association has been promoting fair housing. Each spring, they hold a resource fair so residents can learn more about how to repair their homes. Coming up, solving problems with a little bit of sugar, how one woman's cupcakes help bring some calm to Sherman Park.
It's the, so you're still at the back position.
Okay.
This one.
Where am I?
Did some drops, 1 and 2.
Whoa, we got a camera 2-3 mashup there. Which camera was up live on Facebook for that? That's what I want to know.
3.
Have I ever listened to Sly and the Family Stone? I'm sure I have, Richard. Tiana Allen, hello, welcome. 27 people out there. I'm up on camera 4 now. All the way over there, because camera 2 and camera 3 had a little bit of a collision. Our cameras are all kind of robots, and sometimes their robot minds take over. I'm just hoping they never turn on us. Yes.
So you'll be actually in the spot.
Up to here?
Yeah.
Camera 2?
We're having camera issues right now. But you'll be on 2. Is that the script? What do you got here? iPad.
Facebook.
Oh.
Tanya Holt, hello, welcome.
Are you doing it live?
Yeah, doing it live.
Doing it live?
We're doing it live.
Doing it live?
How much back? 30?
45 seconds.
45?
So this will be camera 2.
All right. All right, Facebook, good night for now. Welcome back, everybody. Georgia Mallet out at Sherman Park with a woman you may have seen before right here on today's TMJ4. She's the one who responded to the violence in Sherman Park with cupcakes and hugs. George?
She sure did, and her name is Tamisha Russell, and she joins me now along with roughly 250 cupcakes, right?
Yes.
At our urging tonight, full disclosure, we asked her to come out tonight with her cupcakes. But in the immediate aftermath of the violence here in Sherman Park, you also came out. You came out because you thought the community needed a smile, right?
Absolutely. Immediately after getting up on Facebook and seeing all of the very disheartening posts and all of those things, I just said I wanted to do something to kind of bring some love and peace to the community. So immediately I wanted to go and bake cupcakes and give out free hugs and free cupcakes, and I thought that that would be perfect to kind of bring a little peace back to the community.
And what was the reaction when you got here?
It was very positive. I got a lot of great reactions from everyone, all ages, all races. People were really receptive of it, and they appreciated the cupcakes and they appreciated the hugs as well.
Well, I know that when I saw you, I got a smile.
Yes.
That's Tamisha Russell, and we are reporting live for the Now Milwaukee, George Mallet. Steve, back to you.
George, thank you. And thanks, Cupcake Lady. We're back with more after this. Everybody, this is our last commercial break here for the hour, so if you've got a question for me on the Facebook Live. Yes, Deborah Van Ness, cupcakes. Unfortunately, they're all, well, not unfortunately, if you want a cupcake and you're watching this and you are in Sherman Park, you know where Sherman Park is there on Roosevelt, get over there, get yourself a free cupcake. I went to black again. That's right, Howie.
But it looks.
All right, let's say goodnight. How are we on time after this
20
break?
seconds after.
I have 20.
Yeah.
20 to out.
Yeah. They call for maintenance person. I don't know where. Hey, we still need somebody for maintenance on it.
Which camera died?
1 minute left. Yeah, 20 on the back. 21, if I did my math correct. Good. Yeah. 30 seconds. Your camera 4 is going to be your end shot.
Okay.
Walking away, or whatever you choose to do.
And that wraps up our exploration of the healing in Sherman Park. We hope the last hour helped shed some light on a neighborhood that is so much more than we saw a couple weeks ago, a neighborhood that's complicated, challenged, yet optimistic. See you back here Monday at 6:30 for the Now Milwaukee. Until then, for all of us at TMJ4, good night.
And now, a Packers Extra pregame special on your official Packers station, today's TMJ4.
You're taking a live look at the field at Levi's Stadium in